Discovered. The incredible journey of a mother of 6 defying labels and finding true worth. In the heart of Waverly Heights, where the streets whispered tales of hardship and hope, lived Sarah, a 32-year-old mother battling life's relentless storms. With 6 children tugging at her heartstrings, she embodied the essence of sacrifice and resilience. For 5 long years, since the illness that took her husband, Sarah had become the glue holding her family together amidst the whispers of single mom and low income. Her modest home cradled both laughter and worry, with the walls painted in shades of struggle and the ceiling hung heavy with dreams long set aside. Each day flew by in a blur of chaos. She juggled jobs as a waitress and cleaner, dashing from tables to mop buckets, her heart aching but her determination unmoved. Dinner meant scraping together whatever she could, a mix of remnants and creativity that often led to soggy spaghetti and half-burnt meatloaf. Yet her children, their faces lit with anticipation, found joy in her efforts, unaware of the burden behind Sarah's forced smile, but tension brewed. Her eldest, Noah, teetered dangerously close to a crowd that whispered of rebellion and crime. Sarah saw the shadows lurking in his eyes, the way he slumped at the table, lost in a world she couldn't quite reach. The echoes of their happy family before her husband's passing haunted her on sleepless nights, stirring up fears she couldn't shake, a rising panic that her sacrifices wouldn't be enough to steer Noah back. "Just listen to me," she pleaded, her voice strained with desperation, but her words often fell into silence. The younger kids mimicked the angst of adolescence, their eyes glazed, unable to grasp the weight of their mother's relentless hustle. Sarah felt like an outsider in her own life, spinning in circles of anxiety, questioning her worth and ability as a mother. Just when despair clung to her every thought, Mr. Jenkins appeared, a grizzled veteran and the local community center's heart. His wisdom ran deep, and as he spoke, each word felt like armor against the societal lashings. "You need to rediscover your dreams, Sarah," he urged. "Ignite the fire within." Inspired, Sarah enrolled in night classes to earn her GED. A flicker of hope sparking in her heart as weeks turned into months, her small victories turned into bright rays of community recognition. At local events, her story shifted from shadow to spotlight, igniting hope not just for herself, but for those in similar battles. She found laughter in learning again, her children's eyes widening with admiration. But beneath the surface, the storm of financial trouble swirled, always looming. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Then came the accident that shattered her fragile balance, a slip on a wet floor at work leading to an unfair suspension that left her spiraling into doubt. The weight of unpaid bills pressed on her chest like a heavy stone, each overdue notice intensifying her feelings of worthlessness. Tension rose at home, hearts filled with frustrations unsaid. Dinner turned into a battlefield of shouting, accusations, and aching silence, each child needing but feeling unheard. As the storm raged around the dinner table, Sarah's heart sank. Would she be able to reclaim the identity she fought so desperately to hold on to? The thought of losing her family to the very shadows she aimed to escape paralyzed her. In that sweat-soaked moment, Sarah wondered if the storm would pull them apart, or if they'd find a way through the chaos together. The stakes had never been higher. The following days felt like stepping into a haze, each morning blurring into the next with the same relentless pace. Sarah's energy drained faster than the setting sun, and she fought against the despair that threatened to pull her under. Bills piled up like silent adversaries, taunting her with their urgency. She began to notice her kids looking at her differently, not with the admiration they once had, but with a mix of confusion and fear. One particularly heavy night, after another chaotic dinner turned sour, Sarah sat alone at the kitchen table, her head in her hands. The scattered remnants of dinner, cold meatloaf, half-eaten breadsticks, looked like the remnants of her life, broken and unappetizing. "Mom," came a small voice from behind her. It was Emma, her youngest, peering around the corner, her innocent eyes filled with concern. "Are you okay?" Sarah offered a shaky smile, feeling a wave of guilt crash over her. Just tired, sweetheart. That's all. But Emma's frown deepened, and Sarah felt the weight of her attempt to shield her children from the storm. Can I help? Emma asked, stepping into the kitchen. At just 8 years old, Emma had a heart full of compassion. Sarah ruffled her hair. A mix of gratitude and sorrow flooding her chest. You already do. Just being you helps more than you know. It wasn't enough to soothe the ache in her heart. That night, when the house was still, Sarah lay awake, consumed by thoughts of Noah. She knew she needed to reach him before it was too late. He had always been her light, bright and full of potential, but now he flickered with uncertainty. She remembered the glint in his eye when he spoke about his dreams of being a mechanic, of fixing cars and bringing them back to life. But the whispers of his peers were drawing him away from that light. Determined, she crawled out of bed and quietly opened the door to his room. Noah lay sprawled on his bed, earbuds in, eyes glued to the screen of his phone. Hey buddy, she started softly, not wanting to startle him. Noah yanked the earbuds out, his face transforming from annoyance to something softer, as if, for a moment, he forgot his worries. What's up, Mom? She took a deep breath, searching for the right words. Can we talk? I need you to know how much I believe in you. You're capable of so much more than you realize. Noah shifted, an eyebrow raised. Like what? What do you want me to do, Mom? You're struggling as it is. Exactly. I'm struggling, she admitted. But my fight is for you, for all of you. And that means I won't stop believing in you. I need you to promise me that you'll try. Please. For a moment, silence hung heavily between them. His eyes darted around the room, skimming over posters of cars and mechanics, dreams that felt distant now. What if I can't? Tears threatened to spill, but she resisted. Then we'll figure it out together. You don't have to carry everything alone. You have a family who loves you. His expression softened. Okay, Mom. I'll think about it. Thank you. Sarah reached out and squeezed his hand, a thread of hope weaving through their shared silence. As dawn broke, the shadows of anxiety still loomed, but now they felt less suffocating. That day, with renewed resolve, Sarah found herself at the community center, sitting across from Mr. Jenkins. They conversed about the opportunity for financial aid for her GED classes. But just as hope began to blossom again, a familiar voice interrupted her thoughts, one that would shake the foundation of their fragile progress. Mom, you need to see this. It was Noah again, a sense of urgency coloring his tone. What is it? Sarah turned, heart racing, fearing the worst. He held out a letter, eyes wide with a mix of fear and defiance. It's a warning from the police. The words caught in Sarah's throat. She could feel the air shift around her, thick with uncertainty. Would this be the turning point that would either tear them apart or help them rise together through the chaos? A storm of questions surged through her mind as she looked at Noah, wishing she could take away the weight he carried. What would happen next? Sarah held the letter with trembling hands, her heart sinking as she read the words. Warning, suspension, behavior. Each term struck harder than the last, echoing in her mind like a relentless drumbeat. What did you do? Her voice trembled, caught between disbelief and concern. She had always prided herself on being a protective mother, but now she felt like she was losing control. Noah avoided her gaze, his jaw set defiantly. It's not what you think, Mom. I was just standing up for myself at school. She struggled to maintain her composure. Standing up for yourself? You're talking about a police warning. This isn't a fight on the playground. What happened? I just told Marcus to leave Emma alone and then things got out of hand, Noah muttered, remorse washing over him like a tide. He sank onto the edge of his bed, hands clasped tightly together. What got out of hand? Noah sighed heavily, staring at the floor. They always pick on her. I couldn't just watch anymore. Sarah's heart swelled with pride for her son's bravery, but twisted with fear for the consequences. The bond between them felt fragile as she watched him wrestle with guilt and anger. You're right to protect her, Noah. But it could ruin everything. I know, he replied, frustration tightening his features. But I didn't ask for this. I didn't want things to go so far in that moment. Sarah saw the boy he was struggling to be amid the weight of expectations, both his own and the world's. He was not just a son, a child weighed down by responsibility. He was a young man grappling with decisions that could carve his path, and perhaps he just needed more than just belief. He needed guidance. We'll figure this out together, she said firmly. You're not alone in this, remember? Noah looked up, a flicker of hope sparking in his eyes. What if they take you away or something? What am I supposed to do then? Listen, we will handle it as a family. We always do, she assured him, feeling the weight of her own fears press upon her chest. But first we need to go to that meeting with the principal. You can't hide from this, you need to face it head-on. Are you with me? Yeah, I guess, Noah replied softly, yet the hesitation still loomed. Just then, a voice interrupted from the doorway. Emma stood with wide, innocent eyes, clutching her favorite stuffed toy. Are we in trouble? The weight of that question pulled at Sarah's heart. She knelt down to Emma's eye level, a practiced smile easing her worry. No, sweet girl, not us. Just some big conversations about what happened, okay? Emma's brow furrowed, unconvinced. But I didn't do anything wrong. No one is saying you did. Noah interjected quickly, softening his tone. I messed up trying to help you. Emma crawled towards him, a small gesture of comfort that warmed the room. I think you're a hero. Noah looked down at his sister, caught off guard by her trust. Sarah felt a spark of connection among them, a reminder of why they fought so hard through the storms. We'll all be brave together, she urged. As they stood up, preparing to face the inevitable challenge ahead, Sarah grabbed each of their hands, feeling their warmth seep into her frantic heart. She realized that every struggle could bring them closer, even if the fear of uncertainty loomed. In the hallway of the school, Sarah glanced at Noah. You know what? No matter what happens in that meeting, I believe in you just like I did yesterday and will tomorrow. He nodded, but the weight of reality still shadowed them. As they entered the principal's office, Sarah's stomach twisted with unease. She took a deep breath, ready to advocate for her son and show him that standing tall even when the world felt small was a real fight worth facing together. But as the principal looked up, her expression unreadable, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the edge of something bigger, a moment that could unravel everything or lead them to unexpected paths. Would this meeting bring clarity? Or would it shake their foundations even more? The principal's office felt smaller than it was, the walls closing in as Sarah took a seat beside Noah. Emma clung to her leg, wide eyes darting between the framed diplomas and the heavy stack of papers on the desk. Sarah could feel the tension in the air, like an electrical current ready to spark. Thank you for coming in, the principal began, her voice steady but cool. I know this situation is delicate. Noah glanced down, losing himself in the fabric of his jeans. Sarah placed a reassuring hand on his back. She wished she could take away the weight resting on his shoulders, replace it with the innocence of childhood he still clung to in moments like these. Let us address what happened yesterday, the principal continued. I understand there was an altercation involving your son, and another student. An altercation. The word felt heavy, like a stone dropped into still water, sending out ripples that couldn't be contained. Noah was trying to protect his sister, Sarah interjected, her voice stronger than she felt. Emma was being bullied and he stepped in. I believe he was just trying to do what he thought was right. While that's admirable, the principal replied, raising a hand to pause Sarah's momentum. It's important to recognize that violence, even in defense, is a serious matter. Noah's actions, while protective, led to a physical confrontation. Noah's jaw clenched tighter. Anger and embarrassment churned within him, and Sarah could see the internal struggle written all over his face. She leaned closer, whispering, "Stay calm. We can get through this." But the words felt flimsy, barely holding their weight in the tense atmosphere as the principal detailed the consequences: suspension, a mandated counseling session. Noah's defenses rose. I didn't mean for it to escalate. I just wanted to help. His voice cracked, the boy inside pleading to be understood. Understanding is exactly what we need, the principal replied, a hint of softness now in her tone. But we must also set boundaries to ensure safety. Emma looked up at Noah, her tiny face scrunched with worry. But you were just being brave. A wave of silence washed over them, the enormity of the situation hanging in the air. For a moment their eyes locked, Noah blinking back the sting of tears as he processed his sister's unwavering belief in him. Emma, sweetie, it's complicated, Sarah said, the words hanging heavy on her heart. How could she explain the harsh realities of life to a child who still believed in heroes and fairy tales? Noah was trying to be a hero, Emma said again, her innocent voice breaking the tension. Heroes don't get in trouble. The principal's smile was tentative. That's true, but heroes also learn how to resolve conflicts without fighting. It's important for Noah to understand that there are other ways to protect someone. Like telling an adult? Noah shot back, frustration spilling over. That doesn't always work. Sarah felt the heat rising in her chest. She grabbed Noah's hand, a grounding force. I know you want to do the right thing. That's what matters. We'll work on finding those alternatives together, I promise. Together, Noah echoed, his voice softer now. Can we? The principal nodded slowly, recognizing the shift in the conversation. Yes, we want to support you, but it requires a commitment from all of us. As the meeting wrapped up, Sarah felt a glimmer of hope emerging from the storm. Noah might have stumbled, but together they could find their footing again. They would rise from this stronger together. Walking out of the office, Noah hesitated, lingering close to her side. Do you really think I can learn how to be? Of course, she interrupted, a smile breaking through the cloud of uncertainty. We just need to find the right path. We can do this one step at a time. On the way home, Emma's quiet voice piped up from the back seat. Can we play superhero when we get home, Noah? You can be a super protector. Noah chuckled, warmth spreading inside him. Only if you promise to be my sidekick. Sarah felt a flicker of relief, a moment she could hold on to. This family, their ups and downs, was a journey worth taking. And in those moments hope began to bloom. But just as they turned onto their street, a shadow fell across Sarah's heart. What would happen when the school called again? The question nagged at her, echoing back in her mind. Who were they really becoming in this fight? As they parked, she looked back at her children, feeling that familiar weight pressing down again. Could they genuinely find their way through this? Or was this just the beginning of something deeper? The walk to their front door felt longer than usual, each step filled with unspoken words. Sarah glanced at Noah as they approached their house, the light from their porch spilling out like an invitation. He was quiet, his brow furrowed in thought, and she wished she could peek inside his head. Hey, how about some hot chocolate? She suggested, using her cheeriest voice, hoping to pull him back from the edge of his worries. Noah nodded, but his smile didn't quite reach his eyes. Emma ran ahead, her laughter ringing out, a sweet sound that contrasted with the weight of the day. She opened the door, flinging her arms wide. Home sweet home, she proclaimed. Sarah quietly followed, glancing back at Noah, who lingered just outside. Noah, she called softly, beckoning him in. He took a deep breath and stepped inside, crossing the threshold between the known and the uncertain and the kitchen. Sarah filled 3 mugs with steaming hot chocolate, the rich aroma wafting through the air. She poured on the marshmallows, letting them float like fluffy clouds. Emma climbed onto a stool, her eyes sparkling at the treat. This is the best, Emma exclaimed, taking a big sip. Noah, still lost in thought, took a sip too but barely tasted it. He set the mug down, pushing it away. Mom, do you think they'll call again? He finally asked, his voice small. Sarah's heart ached at the uncertainty in his words. I hope not. But if they do, we'll handle it together. Always together. But what if? Noah hesitated, his words trapped behind fear. What if I get in trouble again? I don't want to be a bad kid. Sweetheart, she said, kneeling to meet his gaze. Wanting to protect Emma doesn't make you a bad kid. That shows you care. We'll learn from this. It's part of growing up. But what if the other kids still think I'm mean? He asked, his eyes darting down to the counter. Sometimes being brave means admitting when we're wrong and learning how to make it right, she said. You'll find a way. You have a good heart. Noah wasn't convinced. He fidgeted with the edge of the countertop, silently mulling over her words. Meanwhile, Emma bounced on her stool, eager to shift the mood. Can we pretend that the hot chocolate is a magic potion? And when you drink it, you'll get superhero powers. Sarah chuckled, thankful for Emma's lightheartedness. Absolutely. What powers do we want? Flight. Emma squealed, her eyes wide with excitement. And invisibility. Noah finally smiled, the tension in his shoulders easing. Okay, but I want super strength. I want to protect both of you. Deal. Sarah beamed, her heart a little lighter now. They finished their drinks and moved to the living room for their superhero play. Noah transformed into Captain Protector, donning an old towel like a cape, while Emma became the sidekick, using a shoebox as her utility belt. As they played, Sarah settled into the couch, taking a moment to breathe. In that kaleidoscope of laughter and imagination, she sensed a flicker of hope, a reminder that even in tough times, they could still find joy. But deep inside, shadows lingered. She thought about the upcoming counseling session, the unease it brought. What would they discuss? Would it help Noah to feel understood? Or would it only deepen his fears? The doorbell rang just then, cutting through her thoughts. A heavy pit formed in her stomach. Who could it be? Noah's face turned serious, the playfulness draining away. Is it the school? He asked, voice trembling. Sarah took a deep breath, glancing at her children. I don't know. But no matter what, we're together through it all. As she walked slowly to the door, she could feel all the weight of the day pressing down on her again. Would this be the call that changed everything? As Sarah opened the door, her heart raced. Standing there was Mrs. Henderson, their neighbor from across the street. The woman's smile was warm, but her eyes held a glimmer of concern. Hi, Sarah. I hope I'm not interrupting anything. No, not at all, Sarah replied, forcing a smile as she felt the tension tighten in her chest. Just enjoying some hot chocolate with the kids. Oh, that sounds wonderful. Mrs. Henderson stepped inside, glancing around as if assessing their mood. I just wanted to check in on Noah. I heard about the incident at school. Is he doing okay? Noah, who had been standing a few steps behind Sarah, stiffened at the mention of his troubles. He shifted uncomfortably, his eyes darting to the floor. Emma looked from Noah to Mrs. Henderson, her little face scrunching up in confusion. We're managing, Sarah answered, her voice steady even as she felt her insides twist. He's a bit worried about how things will go at his counseling session. Counseling can really help, Mrs. Henderson said softly, her tone genuinely encouraging. Sometimes kids just need a safe space to talk about what's bothering them. I know, Sarah replied, swallowing hard. I want him to feel okay. Each word felt heavy, a mix of hope and fear rolling through her. Noah started retreating toward the living room as the conversation continued, seeking refuge in the familiarity of his superhero persona. Emma zoomed past him, mimicking a flying superhero, lightening the air just a bit. Listen, Sarah, Mrs. Henderson said, pulling Sarah's attention back. I've got some experience with these things. If you ever need a listening ear or an extra hand, I'm here for you. Don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you, I really appreciate that. Sarah chuckled nervously, her heart warmed by the offer but also burdened by a sense of isolation that loomed like a dark cloud over them. I'll let you get back to it, Mrs. Henderson said, glancing around the room. But remember, you're not alone. We're all a community here, and we're rooting for Noah. With that, she stepped back outside, leaving Sarah with a swirl of gratitude and unease. As Sarah closed the door, she felt the weight of the conversation seep into her as she turned to find Noah quietly observing her. He feigned interest in the flicker of a toy, yet the vulnerability was evident in his posture. Hey buddy, she said, kneeling down before him. How are you feeling about the session tomorrow? I don't want to go, he mumbled, his hands shoved in his pockets. Can I tell you something? It's okay to be scared. It's new and different. But I promise I'll be right there with you. She placed a hand on his shoulder, seeking connection. It's just, what if they don't understand? He whispered, a mix of fear and hope dancing in his eyes. I think they will, Sarah replied, squeezing his shoulder. They're trained to listen and help you. You might surprise yourself. The room felt heavy, filled with unspoken fears. Emma darted around them, her playful antics a stark contrast to the quiet turmoil inside Noah's heart. Yet he drew strength from her presence. The flicker of a smile returned to his lips, if only for a moment, but just as Sarah thought they might find a moment of calm, the phone rang, sending another wave of tension washing over the room. Noah, why don't you help Emma with her game for a minute? Sarah suggested, her heart racing as she glanced at the screen. His eyes held a hint of reluctance, but he nodded and walked away, leaving Sarah to answer the call. Hello? She said, trying to steady her breath. I'm calling from the school. The voice on the other end sent shivers down her spine. Just before they could discuss the upcoming meeting about Noah, she heard a commotion from the living room, a crash, followed by Emma's giggles. In that moment, Sarah clung to the idea that laughter might just be their lifeline. As she listened to the voice droning on, her thoughts were elsewhere. How would they navigate the path ahead? What else would come crashing into their lives? With a final breath, she prepared to take the first step, knowing that tomorrow would hold unimaginable challenges. But one thing was certain: whatever was coming, they would face it together. And as the call continued, a nagging question lingered in Sarah's mind. Would she be strong enough to shield her children from the world outside? The moment the call ended, Sarah felt herself anchored in a sea of uncertainty. She slipped the phone back into her pocket, her heart racing as the laughter from the living room continued to bubble up like an effervescent potion. Only moments ago, her world felt heavy, and now, in contrast, the children's carefree joy shimmered through the walls like sunlight. Taking a deep breath, she stepped into the living room. Noah was crouched on the floor, building an epic fortress out of colorful blocks, while Emma flitted around him, pretending to be a dragon that wanted to invade his castle. "Noah, what's that?" she exclaimed, her imagination spilling over. "A fortress? Quick, we must defend it." Noah glanced up, his face softening with a hint of pride. "Yeah, it's a superhero hideout. We have to protect it from the villain." Sarah's heart lightened as she observed them. This was their magic moment, an instant where worries melted away, if just briefly. She settled onto the edge of the couch, grateful for this little respite, watching as her children wove a narrative of strength and bravery. "Can I be the hero?" Emma asked fiercely, puffing out her chest as she mimicked a superhero pose. "Sure," Noah replied, his eyes lighting up. "But we have to come up with a super plan." As they plotted their heroic defense, Sarah smiled, feeling a warmth spreading through her chest. Laughter mixed with the chaos of clattering blocks was a pleasant antidote to stress. But she couldn't shake off the weight of the earlier call. The counselor was eager to discuss Noah's progress, but there was an underlying urgency in their voice. She felt the pull of concern again, a cold specter settling back over her as she thought about what the school might reveal. She had to be ready not just for Noah but for Emma too, who was still just a little one. "Hey, you two," she called, her voice cutting through their play. "What's your superhero plan? Can I help?" Noah looked up, a contemplative expression on his face. "Mom, can you make some superhero snacks?" "Absolutely." She pushed herself off the couch, blooming with fresh energy. "What's the mission?" "To fuel our courage," Emma squealed, jumping up and down as Sarah made her way to the kitchen. She caught sight of Noah. His concentration had shifted from building to her, the fortress temporarily forgotten. He was still worried about tomorrow, she could see that. She needed to provide more than snacks. She needed to instill confidence. "Hey buddy," Sarah stepped closer, her tone softer. "Can we talk about how you can be brave?" Noah's brow furrowed. "Brave like a superhero?" "Yes, just like that. Remember, every superhero has to face something scary to become stronger. But what if I'm not strong enough?" His voice was small, full of vulnerability, and that moment, she knelt down to his level, searching for the right words. "No one starts strong, Noah. It's our challenges that help us grow. Sometimes it takes a team, the whole family, to make you feel strong." Noah nodded slowly, and for the first time, a flicker of hope brightened his eyes. Just then, Emma poked her head around the corner, her eyes wide with curiosity. "Can I help too?" "Of course. Superheroes work better as a team." Sarah smiled, her resolve strengthening. They all huddled together, whispering their ideas as they made their plans. The distractions brought in a momentary solace, yet deep beneath the surface, the storm threatened to break again. After a burst of laughter, Sarah felt hopeful. But that little flicker of fear still loomed. What if the meeting tomorrow only deepened their struggles? As she ladled out the snacks into bright, colorful bowls, the thought danced in the back of her mind. Would their tiny united front be enough to face what lay ahead? And just as they emerged into the living room, happy and full of snacks, she received a dreaded text that sent a chill down her spine. "Sarah, there are some new developments regarding Noah's situation." Her heart pounded in her chest, and the laughter faded, replaced by a sense of dread. What now? What would this mean for her family? In that moment, she knew the journey was far from over. Would they have the strength to confront whatever was on the horizon? Sarah stood frozen, phone clutched in her hand, as her stomach churned with unease. The laughter from Noah and Emma faded into a distant echo, replaced by the rapid thud of her heart racing against her ribs. She had always prided herself on being a steady anchor for her kids. But in this moment, she felt anything but stable. "Mom?" Noah's voice broke through her haze. He was watching her, concern etched across his young face. "Just a second, sweetheart," Sarah replied, her voice trembling slightly. She took a deep breath, willing herself to focus on the present, to come back to the fortress of blocks and the excitement of superhero plans. But the weight of that text hung heavily in the air. Emma bounced on her toes, oblivious to the seriousness clouding the room. "What are we going to do now? Can I be the dragon again? I promise to be the best dragon ever." That innocent enthusiasm tugged at Sarah's heart. She wanted so much to dive back into the joy of their play. But how could she pretend that everything was okay? The looming uncertainties about Noah's future shrank every ounce of light around them. "Of course, honey. Dragons are important." Sarah forced a smile, but it felt like a mask. "Let us get the snacks out and start our superhero mission." As she set the bowls on the coffee table, she felt Noah's gaze steady and probing. "Mom, are you okay?" His question sliced through the pretense. Sarah kneeled down to his level and sighed. "I just got a text about your meeting tomorrow," she said, her voice softer now. "But we can handle this together, right?" He frowned, his small fingers tracing the edge of the table. "What if it's bad news?" "Whatever it is, we will face it as a family," she replied, forcing confidence into her words. "Remember, superheroes support each other." Noah nodded slowly, a flicker of understanding crossing his face. "Even if it's scary?" "Especially then." Emma, not one to be left out of the conversation, clutched her toy dragon tightly. "We can fight it. Dragons can scare away anything mean, even bad news." A chuckle escaped Sarah's lips, a hint of warmth returning as the children's loyalty wrapped around her. As the snacks were devoured, their laughter began to resurface, echoing off the walls, filling the space with a renewed energy. But just as they moved into their imaginary battle against villains and monsters, Sarah's phone buzzed again. This time it was a call from Noah's school. Her stomach dropped. She glanced at Noah, who was unaware of the turmoil inside her. "You two keep playing. I just need to talk to someone." With shaky hands she stepped outside onto the porch, the cool breeze brushing against her skin like a calming balm. She answered the call, trying to maintain a steady voice. "Hello, Sarah." It was Mrs. Thompson, the counselor. "Thank you for calling back. We needed to discuss Noah's progress, but there are some new developments." The words felt like a brick hitting her chest. As she listened, dread pooled in her stomach. Notes had been taken, recommendations made, and the word intervention hung in the air like a storm cloud. When the call ended, Sarah's mind raced. She needed more than just words. She needed a plan, an understanding of what would happen next. But the thought of a looming intervention dug deep into her heart. What if it didn't help Noah? What if it was all wrong? Sarah felt herself teetering on the edge of panic. But just as she thought she'd crumble, she remembered Noah's face, his willingness to be brave despite the uncertainties. Her heart swelled with a fierce determination. Racing back into the house, she called out to her kids. "Superheroes, I need your help." Noah and Emma turned, excited by her sudden urgency. "We have a new mission. We need to figure out how to get through this together. Are you with me?" "Always." They both cheered, grinning from ear to ear as they huddled again. The fortress of their imagination began to rebuild around them. In that moment, Sarah knew they had something powerful. Hope, laughter, and each other. But deep down, she felt a question nagging at her soul. How much longer could they keep this up? The world outside was waiting. What would the next meeting reveal? The sun dipped lower in the sky, casting a warm glow through the living room. Sarah settled into the plush couch, flanked by her children. Noah's hand rested on Emma's shoulder, and together they seemed like a small fortress of resilience. "Okay, superheroes," she began, her voice steadier now. "Before we save the world, we need to come up with a plan. Maybe we can find a way to make this meeting feel less scary." "What do we need?" Noah asked, eyes bright with determination. "Well," Sarah said, gauging their reactions, "maybe we should think about how we can show them just how awesome you both are. We could gather your favorite achievements and dreams and make a super poster." Emma's face lit up. "Like a superhero collage. We could have a big dragon in the middle." "Exactly," Sarah replied, a bolt of excitement igniting within her. and we'll add all your superhero powers around it. Your kindness, bravery, creativity. All of it. Noah nodded, clearly intrigued. Can we also include my drawing of the giant robot that protects the city? Of course. Everyone needs to see your ideas, she replied, feeling a spark of hope spread through her chest. What if they made the school see how special Noah really was? As they gathered their supplies, markers, scissors, and colorful paper, Noah's enthusiasm filled the room. Emma began to chatter about her plans for their dragon, her voice ringing with pure joy, a welcome distraction from the weight of Sarah's worries. But once the initial excitement faded, a creeping doubt slithered back into Sarah's mind. What if this meeting didn't go as they hoped? Was it enough to fight against something she didn't fully understand? Suddenly, Noah interrupted her thoughts. Mom, can I help with the dragon? I want to make it as big as possible. Of course, love, she said gently, trying to shake her anxiety. Let us make it magnificent. As they worked together, Sarah plastered on a smile, determined to channel their energy into something positive. This was about more than just one meeting. It was about building confidence within Noah and Emma, teaching them to take ownership of their narratives. Within an hour, they decrafted a vibrant collage adorned with drawings, doodles, and even stickers. A proud dragon taking flight dramatically represented Noah's creativity, while Emma's glowing sun and flowers symbolized her light-hearted spirit. Standing back to admire their handiwork, a part of Sarah felt lighter. Despite the uncertainty, they had transformed their fear into something tangible, a visual testament to their journeys. Do you think it will help? Noah asked, gazing up at her with sincerity. Sarah knelt beside him and cupped his face in her hands. It might just open their eyes. More than anything, it shows how much you both have to offer. Noah blinked, a spark ignited in his eyes. Let us show them we're super strong. With laughter bubbling anew, they continued to add finishing touches, completely lost in their world of art and imagination. The nervousness that had gripped Sarah earlier started to dissipate like fog lifting in the sunlight. But as they cleaned up, another thought pierced through her mind like an arrow. What if they still didn't see Noah's true worth? The looming meeting felt like a mountain she wasn't sure they could climb. Just then Emma bounced up. Mom, can we decorate the front yard too? With the same dragon and flowers? An unexpected rush of warmth washed over Sarah. That is a brilliant idea. We can show the world exactly who you guys are. But as they stepped outside with their art supplies, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that the real battle lay ahead, not just for Noah, but for her as well. Would they have the strength to face this new challenge together? She took a deep breath, feeling the future ripple with uncertainty. The ride was just beginning, and it would take everything they had to overcome it. With hearts steeled against doubt, they set to work, unaware of the revelation waiting for them at the meeting, one that would change everything. The next day dawned bright and crisp, a new beginning shimmering with possibilities. Sarah stood before the mirror, taking in her reflection, her hair brushed back, face smeared with warmth, ready to face whatever lay ahead. It was time for them to confront the storm, to finally shatter the clouds of uncertainty that loomed over their heads. With excitement bubbling in the air, she gathered Noah and Emma around the kitchen table. The collage, now a testimony of their struggles and dreams, sat proudly in the center, covered with drawings of heroes and dragons, reminders of their resilience. Today is the day, guys, Sarah said, her voice firm yet gentle. We're going to show them just how incredible you both truly are. Are you ready? No fear. Noah shouted, pumping his fist, a superhero's spirit surfacing within him. Emma giggled, her innocence casting a bright light as she echoed her brother's enthusiasm. We're ready. The school loomed ahead. An institution that once felt daunting now met with the fire of their combined strength. As they approached the entrance, Sarah held both of their hands tight, drawing from their warmth and love a shield that no words could penetrate. Inside the darkened hall, nervous whispers floated around as they headed to the principal's office. But where Sarah once felt tiny compared to the challenges surrounding her, today felt different. Today they were there to be seen. When they entered the room, the principal greeted them with a welcoming smile. Her office felt brighter today, as if it understood the hope in the air. Sarah introduced their artistic collage, their snapshots of their lives, a stark reminder that each challenge was just a part of the greater picture they were building. We've brought something to share with you, Sarah began, her voice steady. This shows who we are, not just what is happening. She placed the collage on the table. The principal's brows raised in interest. "Please tell me about it." Noah stepped forward, a spark of courage lighting his face. "This is a superhero hideout. We wrote all our good things here, like my drawings and Emma's sunshine. We're fighting our own bad guys. Bad guys like fear and doubt," Emma piped in, her eyes gleaming. Sarah caught the moment, a sense of pride swelling within her. "Exactly. We want you to see how much these kids have to offer. They're filled with unexpected strength." The principal studied their collage, nodding slowly, a look of understanding in her eyes. The tension that once filled the room began to fade, leaving space for genuine connection. "This is incredible. It shows not just the struggles you've had, but how you choose to rise up despite them. How can we help?" Sarah's heart swelled with hope. Maybe they could reshape the narrative. Over the next hour, they discussed strategies for Noah's future counseling sessions that aimed to build his coping skills rather than tear him down. The approach shifted from punishment to guidance, reinforcing that making mistakes was part of growth, but understanding was the path to resilience. As they exited the office, laughter burst forth from the group, no longer overshadowed by worry but wrapped in triumph. "We did it!" Noah exclaimed, a weight lifted from his shoulders. "See, heroes don't quit," Emma chimed, dancing in circles around them, her tiny arms stretching wide in celebration. Back home, Sarah hugged them tight, her heart soaring. "You two were amazing. Do you realize how powerful your voices are?" Noah grinned. "I feel like a superhero." And he was. As they prepared for the next chapter, the shadows of doubt once blocking their path began to dissolve in the glow of hope. Together they would fight through every storm, no longer merely surviving but thriving, as a family rebuilt stronger than before. As she watched her children play, laughter ringing through the walls of their home, Sarah felt the first real sense of peace in years. Yes, challenges awaited, but armed with love, resilience, and a shared dream, they embraced whatever came next. And in those sweet moments, Sarah understood that true worth was never dictated by others. It was born from every act of love, every ounce of effort, and above all, the unbreakable bond of family. This was just the beginning of their incredible journey, and you have to join them. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that will inspire and uplift you. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Comment your reactions and feelings about this transformative ending, and share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this journey and transformation. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share.